Today we will crown a national champion. This year's playoff is down to 4. The top-seeded Michigan Wolverines face off against the biggest Cinderella this series has seen, the Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky. Following that, we head to the Peach Bowl, where our number 2-seeded Kansas Jayhawks will face off against the University of Kentucky and the Wildcats. This is now the third time we've made it to the semifinals in this series. We have not won a national championship, but that could change today. Not only will we watch both semifinal games, but we'll also watch the national championship, regardless if Kansas makes it or not. We are now down to 4, and interestingly, it's the top 4 seeds. I don't think we've ever had this before in any iteration of the NCAA Next Up series. Western Kentucky shocked TCU, a team who I thought was going to cakewalk to the Final Four. Michigan took care of business against Troy, and then Kentucky's defensive playmakers were too much for Notre Dame. Star quarterback Jay Pitts, who only threw 5 interceptions all year, threw 4 more in this game. As for us, we beat Michigan State 41-31 in the Orange Bowl. I thought there was a chance we would play against Arkansas yet again for the third time in as many episodes, but it was the Spartans who we got the better of. Kerry Chosen played pretty well in his first career playoff game. Cornell Teamer was quiet for his standards, but still quite solid. Ty Lord was also kind of quiet, but the return of Amani Law proved to really be a big deal for us. 9 catches, $144 and a score after missing our last 5 games with an injury. And then the defense played really well for 3 quarters, then kind of faltered. But 2 interceptions, including a pick 6 from senior All-American Javier Callaway, ultimately helped put us over the top and set us up for this matchup against the 3rd-seeded Kentucky Wildcats. The top 4 seeds battle it out. Maybe not the 4 teams we would have expected going into the playoff, especially Western Michigan beating TCU. That's not something that I had circled on my bingo card. But we're not going to waste any time. We've got a lot to go over today with both of the semifinal games, along with the national championship. So let's get this show on the road. We'll start in Arizona at the Fiesta Bowl. The Michigan Wolverines look to do something that has not been done yet in this series: complete the undefeated season. Not even Alabama. Remember last year they lost a game early in the season. The Wolverines are currently 14-0, winners of the Big Ten. They have some impressive wins on their schedule. They beat Oregon on the road. The Ducks ranked number 5. Yes, they lost in the first round of the playoff, but still a very strong opponent. They beat Michigan State twice. The Spartans went undefeated otherwise until their loss against Kansas. They beat Ohio State as well for the 20,000th straight time. And then they took care of business against Troy, a team that they were supposed to beat. And they did not leave that game with any issues. On paper, they should absolutely beat Western Kentucky, but you never know. If Western Kentucky can beat TCU, I think they can beat these guys as well. CJ Carr, the redshirt senior, has played on a national championship team before. He was the backup 2 years ago at Notre Dame for Jay Pitts. Kane Kunashik at running back is arguably the best running back in the country, not named Cornell Teamer, and he did win the Best Running Back of the Year award over Cornell Teamer. Greg Ayu is a really good number 2 back. If you remember, we actually recruited him very heavily a couple years ago. He ended up picking Michigan. We ended up with Nicholas Scotland-Williamson instead. Very balanced group of receivers. Nobody has over 1,000 yards, but everybody gets the ball here inside of the Michigan offense. And then the biggest strength is their trench play. The offensive line is loaded. Their 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 7th highest rated players on the team are offensive linemen. Yes, their backups are in the 90s. The defense is really strong as well, led by Willie Banks, who has 13.5 sacks as a redshirt sophomore. As for Western Kentucky, this team is really interesting to me. They're currently 11-3. If you look at their 3 regular season losses, it's to Southern Miss, Miami of Ohio, and Louisiana Tech, all of whom are really good, all of whom were in the playoff mix for much of the year. Those are the only 3 hard games on their schedule, though, in the regular season, but give them credit. In the postseason, they've beaten Louisiana Tech in the Sun Belt Championship, and they shocked the world against Hoss Haney and TCU in the 2nd round. Here's the problem, though. Their starting quarterback, Tucker Parks, broke his arm, and he will not be available today. If they win against Michigan, he will not be available in the national championship. So redshirt sophomore Drew Whitaker, who has never started a game in his collegiate career, will be thrusted into a huge role here as the starting quarterback in the national semifinals. If it already was not enough of an uphill battle with a team of Western Kentucky's caliber facing off against Michigan, they have to do it with a guy who's never started a game in college at quarterback. Now, to be fair, Drew Whitaker has played well in limited opportunity, but that's what it is. Very limited opportunity. Parker Parrish leads the backfield along with Enrique Beatty. Jalen Hampton and Cameron Flowers, a pair of redshirt seniors, each have scored 11 touchdowns. This is an older group. A lot of seniors and redshirt seniors leading the way. Their offensive line is a little up and down. 17 sacks allowed for Matthew Strawn. And then defensively, Tate Titshaw. Yes, that is his name. Leads the way at safety. Zachary Minnis, 10.5 sacks, 7.5 for Jason Temple, and then 6 for Lennon Cole. Dexter Fowler with 4 interceptions. All of those guys defensively, redshirt seniors. So that means they were all on the team in Season 1. Let's go full circle. Week 1, Season 1, Western Kentucky goes into Alabama and knocks off the Crimson Tide in Kalen DeBoer's coaching debut. This ended up being a sign of things to come for Kalen DeBoer, who's had a lot of struggles during his tenure at Alabama, even though they did win the national title last season, including this interception by Anthony Johnson Jr., who just played in the Super Bowl with the Chicago Bears. All of those redshirt seniors were on this team. Now, granted, they didn't play. They were being redshirted, but they were on the team. So this is something that Western Kentucky has been building for since episode 2 of the series over 11 months ago. But they're going to have to do it without the guy who's led the charge for them in quarterback Tucker Parks. They're going to have to win it for none other than the GOAT, Big Red! They've even got their big red googly-eyed helmets today for arguably the best mascot. Why would I say arguably? He is the best mascot. I shouldn't say he's not, because otherwise he's going to find where I live and possibly unalive me. I don't know if I can say the actual word on YouTube. I don't want to risk it. My bank account would not appreciate me. Anyway, Hilltoppers start with the ball. Here's a nice run to open things up. It's Parker Parrish with a gain of around 12. I'm curious to see how Western Kentucky plays on the trenches. Michigan's strengths are on the lines. As Whitaker is going backwards, he is sacked for a big loss. That man is doing the gritty right in front of him. That's Glenn Connors, the redshirt freshman from Washington, D.C. I know Troy Weaver is licking his chops when he heard that. Short pass for Parrish, gets around 6. Obviously will not be a first down as Michigan has it. 3rd and 2. Carr fakes the toss. Pass is incomplete. Zachary Minnis breaks it up. He's been arguably the best player on this defense this year, and Michigan's going to punt it. Boo, that's weak. Grow a pair of nuts and go for it. The punt will just barely roll in the end zone. Western Kentucky dodges a bullet, and the Hilltoppers get it for their second drive. Whitaker on first down under pressure. Pass is caught. Nice first down for Parker Parrish to the 45, and they're getting a little something going here. Now it is a 3rd down and around 9. Here is Whitaker. Steps up, scrambles, looks to run. Drew Whitaker will get the first down. A nice scramble by Whitaker, the redshirt sophomore, hailing from Pelham, Alabama. On first down, Whitaker under pressure. His pass is nearly intercepted. Could have been a pick 6, but the defender unable to corral it in. That's Cordell Little, the senior safety. 3rd and 11, up the middle. That will not go for a first down. Parker Parrish gets around 3 or 4. Western Kentucky has to punt it. 3rd and 4 for Michigan late in the first. C.J. Carr looks to pass, and it's dropped. Zachary Minnis had it in his hands. He could have had a pick 6. Ball don't lie, I guess. Scoreless through 1. Western Kentucky's offense has not done enough, but Michigan's offense has been very underwhelming. Defensively, the Hilltoppers are hanging in there so far. Some trickery to start this second. Flowers looking deep. Wide open for Larry Dixon. And it's a gain of 31 yards. What a play call. The senior wide receiver, Cameron Flowers, with the pass. Following play, they do the exact same thing. Yeah, you deserve to throw an incompletion if you're going to run the same damn trick play. 2nd and 10, it's picked off. Intercepted by Jameer Benjamin. Gets by Whitaker, and he is gone. 62 yards to the house for the redshirt senior. Michigan the first on the board with a defensive touchdown. So Western Kentucky goes back-to-back trick plays. Then they go back to Whitaker, who throws the first interception of his career. The redshirt senior Benjamin, who was a true freshman when Michigan beat us in the championship back in Season 1, puts the Wolverines on the board. 3rd and 10 for Whitaker under pressure, and he is sacked. Colton Lewis, joined by another defender in the backfield, Gabe Cheek, half a sack each. Michigan has it back, now up 7-0 with a defensive touchdown. Play action, Carr looking deep down the field, it's caught! Inside the 5, Frank Nicholson. A gain of 34. What was that Michigan fan doing? We do not approve of that. 1st and goal in the end zone for a touchdown. It's Sterling Popo, the sophomore, adding to the lead for the Wolverines. Michigan now on top 14-0 here in the second. Pivotal drive upcoming for the Hilltoppers. They are losing ground fast. It's time for Drew Whitaker to grow up a little bit. Short pass caught. Good start to the drive. Nice play after the catch. Zach will go for a first down for Jalen Hampton, the redshirt senior, who gets 16. 2nd and 4, 4.5 to go in the half. Under pressure, another sack by Michigan. Making the play this time for the Wolverines is Devon Pruitt, the sophomore corner, coming off the blitz. 3rd and 13 now for the Toppers at the 26. Looks like a screen. Pass is caught by Parrish with room. Does not get the first down as the Cavalry, led by Pruitt, who just had the sack, brings him down for a gain of 9. Michigan has it back. 3.5 to go, up by 14. Play action. Carr looking to throw it. It is caught. Broken tackle. A nice first down. That's Sterling Popo. We haven't seen a lot of the running back Kane Kunashik yet. He hasn't been that impressive. The Wolverines have not run it very well. Finally a good run for Kunashik as he gets the first down near the 30. 2nd and 10. Carr with a strike up the middle. Tyrell Sweeting, who gets 17 yards, able to haul in a tough one. The redshirt senior brings Michigan back into the red zone. 3rd and 9. Carr under pressure, looking, end zone, not quite in. But that will bring them to the 1. Vi Mafi, the tight end, hauls it in. On 1st and goal, back of the end zone, it is caught for a score. Sterling Popo, his 2nd of the game. And Michigan adds to the lead as he strikes the post in the end zone. 21-0 for the Wolverines. And I think this game was scoreless. At the end of the first, Western Kentucky started the second with the trick play, and then ever since then it has gone downhill quite fast for the Hilltoppers, as they are now down by 3 scores very late into the first half. You figure they might as well try for some big play. What is there really to lose at this point? Down by 21. I don't even think they start with the ball. Whitaker's going to go short. That's not going to get him anything. Maybe they'll have enough time for one more play. We'll see if they get this one off. And Whitaker will snap it with 2. He's just going to go short. That's a pretty pathetic play call to end the first half, down by 21. The Wolverines in control, looking to make it back to the national championship for the 2nd time in this series after winning it in year number 1. The Wolverines have had a couple playoff runs since then. They made it in seasons 2 and 3. They beat us in year 3. Only went 6-7 last year, making their undefeated campaign this year all the more impressive. They finished under 500 with C.J. Carr, who really struggled last year. A lot of work to do for Western Kentucky, down by 21 points against the best team in the country with a backup quarterback who threw a pick 6 and hasn't been very good. There's not a lot going for the Hilltoppers right now. Really, the only thing you can kind of hope for is that the power of friendship can, I don't know, pull off something lucky. Michigan will start with the ball here to open up the 3rd quarter. The Wolverines have to run the ball better, though. With this elite offensive line and this elite run game, they've got to get Kunashik going. Blows by the defender for a solid gain of nearly 20. Kunashik, the redshirt junior from Oradell, New Jersey, as it's now 3rd and 10. Carr looks to throw it down the field, broken up. Good play there in the secondary. The redshirt senior Dexter Fowler, who leads the team in interceptions, is the one who makes the play. Western Kentucky would have a slow but efficient drive down the field. as they're unable to convert there on 3rd and 6 with the backup running back Enrique Beatty. And that'll bring out the field goal unit, looking to finally put some points on the board. Dwayne Talib's kick is good from 37. I'm just realizing that we have 2 playoff teams from Kentucky. Western Kentucky and then Kentucky. I didn't even make that connection until just now. That's crazy. Michigan has it back. Kunashik breaks the tackle, has a first down nearing the 50, and now the standout junior is starting to look a lot more like himself. Here on 2nd and 5, it's Greg Ayu, the redshirt freshman, past the 30. This kid's got a little wiggle to him. There's a reason why we really liked him a couple years ago and almost were able to land him before we chose Michigan late in the process. Jet sweep for Quincy Mangum. Gets a good block. First down inside the red zone. Mangum, the senior, leads the team in receptions this year. On 3rd and 15, Carr looks to throw it. Final play at the quarter. It is caught into the end zone for a touchdown. Quincy Mangum in for the score. And Michigan adds to the lead to end the 3rd. Carr with his 3rd touchdown of the game. And it is 28-3. Falcons fans, look away. I mean, we've seen this lead get blown before. The only difference is that it was Tom Brady who came back down 25. Not Drew Whitaker. But, much like Tom Brady, Drew Whitaker was only thrusted into this spot because of an injury. Now, Brady was a 15-year vet when he came back down by 25. Whitaker is a 20-year-old sophomore who's never started in a game in his life. On 3rd and 11, he's got a wide-open man deep, nearing the 40. There's a nice play for Western Kentucky. That's Cameron Flowers, who gets 26. On 1st down, short throw, Enrique Beatty with blocks to the outside, past the 50, past the 40. Now all of a sudden, we're getting a little sense of urgency from this Hilltopper offense. 2nd and 1 now for Western Michigan. Whitaker looks to throw it. End zone. Touchdown! It's the junior tight end, Nate Finian-Ganofo, with the score. The Hilltoppers finally in the end zone. Big Red loves what he sees, as it's now 28-10. Still a lot of work to do for Western Kentucky, but you got to start somewhere. Pretty quick, pretty solid drive. Michigan has it back, looking to chew some clock. 3rd and 7. Huge conversion for the Wolverines, as that one is hauled in by Hogan Hansen for the first down conversion. With 5 minutes to go, officially in chew clock mode, as Greg Ayu gets past the 50. Ayu has not gotten the ball a lot today, but when he has, he's been very effective. 3rd and 1, Carr with a strike, wide open, it's Hansen again. Past the 20, into the red zone. Michigan looking to add to the lead here following the 2-minute warning, looking to end this game for good, as Kane Kunashik is in for the score, and that should just about do it. Kunashik 2nd in college football in rushing touchdowns, only behind Cornell Teamer, as that will make it 35-10. A valiant effort from Western Kentucky, going 11-4, winning the conference title against Louisiana, shocking the world against TCU, a clear championship contender in the 2nd round, but with their quarterback getting hurt and the stark talent difference against Michigan, it was always going to be an uphill battle to win this game, and they kept it competitive for like 10 minutes, and then Michigan started to take over. CJ Carr with 3 touchdowns, played very solid, and I feel like the game plan for Michigan was to more so focus on not making losing plays rather than try to take them out early. And because of that, Michigan really did not look all that impressive in this game. Kane Kunashik, for instance, his numbers were pretty good, but he didn't really pass the eye test. I think that's more so because of Michigan's game plan. They were more so focused on just playing ground and pound, smart and efficient football. Let's not make mistakes. We're better than these guys, and we know it. And, well, they were sure better than these guys in this game. What I find interesting, though, is that the time of possession was pretty much even across the board. We'll start with the stats for the Wolverines, who are now 1 game away from completing the undefeated season. CJ Carr didn't really look downfield a ton. He had some good throws, also had some misses in there. On the ground, 19, 89, and a score for Kunashik. I will say, though, I think his lateral movement was a little slower than I expected. Now, maybe that's because he's a power back. He's not someone who you have going to the outside hitting home runs. Rather, he's your downhill, tough, physical runner, more like a Jazeer Tolbert. Maybe I'm too used to watching Cornell Teamer just dance around and make guys miss. Defensively, the Wolverines played a really good game. Western Kentucky did not score until the second half. They did not score a touchdown until the fourth quarter. A lot of TFLs. Banks had a sack and a half. Lewis was impressive. And then, of course, they had the big pick six by Jameer Benjamin, which really flipped the game over right from when it happened. I thought Drew Whitaker did some good things. He completed 74% of his passes. He didn't look downfield a lot. Clearly, they handcuffed him with their play calling. Obviously, the interception, not ideal. The run game wasn't too bad. Both backs averaged 5 yards a pop. Everybody got involved through the air. And then defensively, I really don't think they were horrible. I thought they held their own in run defense. Again, it's not like Kane Kunashik was bad, but he wasn't that impressive either. They didn't have many TFLs. They didn't get a sack. But I thought the front unit was pretty solid. Nonetheless, Michigan takes the Fiesta Bowl, and now we've got to see who they will play against in the national championship. Early in this series, when this Kansas team had a lot of success, it felt as if we were happy to be there. Granted, the Season 1 team made it all the way to the national championship, but they were never supposed to make it that far. This year, it feels a little bit different. This feels like a business trip. This team has expectations, and we were able to tell very early in the year that this team, they're a little bit different. We've beaten TCU, we've beaten Arkansas, we've beaten Michigan State. With blowouts and close games on the schedule, we've won in just about every way imaginable. The roster from head to toe is as good as any in college football, and I think this team has the experience necessary to help us in these big games. This core of players has made the playoff 3 years in a row and has done better each time. Kerry Chosen has only started in one playoff game, but he's been on the sidelines over the last couple of seasons observing. I thought Chosen looked pretty good against Michigan State. He did have a bad interception, but otherwise was quite solid. And I can't imagine it hurts having a really solid veteran such as Clyde Poole in his ear. And yes, Clyde Poole could become a national champion tonight. That would be pretty dope. Cornell Teamer wraps up his Kansas career with hopefully his last 2 games rather than 1 in what has been a historic season so far. As good as Cornell Teamer is, and he has a chance to become a certified legend tonight, it's not just him. Ty Lord, Elijah Parrish, the true freshman, Amani Law, who looked great in his return, Rajon Jones, and others. The offensive line has been terrific, with guys like Luis Roche and Reggie Chanel likely to declare for the NFL draft, with Cornell Teamer and Amani Law, and possibly others on offense. Defensively, the pass rush has been a little up and down as of recent, but we've got a good group of Roddy Orr, Afa G, Devin Murphy, and then a bunch of playmakers in the secondary, specifically Javier Callaway, who had 2 interceptions, including a pick 6 in the win against the Spartans. As for Kentucky, a team who really hasn't been that relevant throughout this series, they've never made the playoff before, but this team is legitimately good. They have not lost since Week 7 in a defeat against Auburn. They have some impressive wins here, specifically against Florida. Now, the Gators are not that good. They only went 5-7, but to win 73-7 on the road will never not be crazy. The score doesn't even do this game justice because the box score makes it look worse than the score. Philip Guacham had probably the worst quarterback game I've ever seen. He completed 9 passes to his own team and 8 to the other. Why did Florida never bench him? Cliff Peppers threw for 6 scores. The star running back Landon Scruggs did not even play. 4 different players on the Kentucky defense had 2 interceptions, which is just kind of crazy. Since then, the Wildcats have continued to play some good ball. They beat North Carolina in the SEC title. They beat Notre Dame in the second round of the playoff. They nearly scored 50 on offense while getting 4 interceptions on defense. Cliff Peppers, the junior quarterback, came out in the same recruiting class as Kerry Chosen and Sean Pollard, and he has had a great season, one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Their lead running back for most of the year, Avery Clare, has the same amount of yards per carry as he does fumbles. But their star, Landon Scruggs, who's been injured for most of the year, is healthy, and he will play today. The redshirt freshman, Paul Crisp, leads the way through the air with almost 1,200 yards. What I think is most impressive about this team, though, is their defense. one of the great things about our defense is the amount of playmakers we have on that side of the ball who can force takeaways. And I think the team across the country most like us is Kentucky. Byron Lean, 94 overall middle linebacker, one of the best players in the country. Tyrone Coker, 12.5 sacks. Kyle Copen, 12 sacks. He will not play, however. Blair Herr, the redshirt junior, will see an increased workload. The secondary, I think, might be the best in America. Randy O'Dwyer, 6 picks. This guy is really good. Cam Dooley, 4 picks. He's really good. I think Lean, Dooley, O'Dwyer, multiple pass rushers, all of those guys are likely to be high NFL draft picks. So you combine the amount of elite players they have on the defensive side of the ball with one of the very best quarterbacks in the country, and it's very easy to see how this team won the SEC, is currently, 13-2, and has made it all the way to the Final Four. A couple of basketball blue bloods set to face off here at the Peach Bowl for a spot in the national championship against Michigan. And boy, would we love to play the Wolverines. Wouldn't that be storybook after losing to them in year 1? Kentucky will start with possession of the ball. Anthony Escalante, the senior, will kick it off, and we are underway. The final game, and hopefully games, plural, of the series, as Kentucky will start with it on offense. Cliff Peppers, one of the top passing games in the nation, leads the way for the Wildcats. Landon Scruggs, their star running back, only played in 5 games this year, including their win against Notre Dame, where he was quite effective. Not a good start, though, for the Wildcats. A loss of 2. Quantavius Landers, the junior, with the TFL on the screenplay, as that'll make it a 3rd down and around 6. Peppers looks to throw it. Under pressure, throws it away. A 3-and-out to start the Kansas defense as we take our first look at the Jayhawk offense, who's been able to run with anybody this year. But this Kentucky defense is by far the best group that we've played against so far this season. As I said earlier, I believe they're the most talented defense in the nation. They have recruited and developed extremely well on that side of the ball. 3rd and inches, Chosen, scrambles, nobody's open, he's going to have to get rid of it, and eventually he does, avoiding the sack. 4th and inches, you know what we're going to do. We knew we had to avoid the sack there, so we could potentially go for it here on 4th down. Cornell Teamer gets it, and he barely gets the 1st down. That was close. He got maybe half a yard. That's all he needs to keep the drive going. That one is picked off the very next play. Randy O'Dwyer, his 7th of the year, and the Wildcats get it back. Chosen was looking for Rajon Jones, but O'Dwyer, who has arguably the best ball skills in the entire country, makes a great play on the football to come down with the pick. O'Dwyer, the greatest white cornerback you'll find. Apparently, according to Bordeaux, there's going to be less white defensive backs in college football 26, which is probably how it should be, but it is a little funny seeing guys like O'Dwyer become this good. There's Paul Crisp with a gain of 20, the best receiver on this team. Landon Scruggs up the middle with a 1st down, nearing the 30. Kentucky's moving it very nicely down the field as they look to score first. Following play, they'll go right back to Scruggs, who breaks the tackle from Soma Satele, gets a block, and he is gone. 31 yards to the house. Kentucky on the board first as the Wildcats lead at 7-0. This kid, Landon Scruggs, can ball, and the fact that Kentucky played this well throughout the season without him in the lineup really speaks to how good that this team is. It's certainly a lot easier having one of the better backs in the country in the backfield, though, especially now that he's not wearing number 83. That's just gross for a running back. We'll see if the Kansas offense can respond. Cornell Teamer up the middle with a solid gain. Our first drive ending in a turnover is certainly not what we were hoping for. Got to get more from Teamer, who's off to a slow start. On 3rd down, up the middle, it's Amani Law with a 1st down past the 40. So dynamic after the catch as he gains 32. Amani Law, another guy widely expected to declare for the NFL draft at the conclusion of, today. Whether we win the national championship, whether we make it and lose, or if we lose this game. Hakeem Ficken, the true freshman, brings it to around the 20. That young man has made some big plays for us as of recent, a guy who I'm excited to see carve out a bigger role in the future. Teamer to the outside, brings it inside the 10. to around the 7. We didn't get a lot out of Teamer early, but he's looking more comfortable as the game goes along. First and goal. Ty Lord tries to bounce it outside. He does, and he is in for a score. Ty Lord in for the rushing touchdown, and Kansas ties it at 7. As good as Cornell Teamer is, this is a duo. Ty Lord, arguably the best RB2 in the country, shows why there. His first touch of the game ends in a touchdown, and that's a really good response on offense given that we had the interception, we allowed the touchdown. Things could have gone a little haywire, but we're able to gain some control back and tie the game up. Cats back with it, a little over a minute left in the first. Peppers surveys the field and connects with Crisp again, who's been busy so far, his third catch of the game. Following play, it's a play action. Peppers on the run, looks to throw it, and he's intercepted! What a play by Javier Callaway, his 9th of the year, and Kansas forces the turnover. A ridiculous snag by Callaway. I mean, this guy is just unbelievable. That's now 3 interceptions in the college football playoff alone for Callaway, who had a great regular season for us. I mean, my golly, was he good. But in the postseason, he's turned it on to another level. This might be his most impressive interception yet. I mean, his ability to flip his hips, grab the ball in the air while he's jumping. That'll wrap up the first quarter. The first 5 minutes did not go our way, but we're playing a lot better with the touchdown drive finished off by Ty Lord, and now the interception for Javier Callaway. That'll bring us into the second. Kansas starting with good field position as it's 3rd and 8. Chosen looks to throw it. His pass is hauled in. Nice catch by Rajon Jones, targeting O'Dwyer there, who nearly made a play on the ball. Jones a little bit banged up, but he's able to corral it in. 3rd down and 10. We're going to run the ball with Teamer. Cuts upfield. Teamer is in for the score. Only Kansas feels comfortable running the ball on 3rd and 10, not just because of this guy, but also because of the elite players we have on the offensive line. Doesn't hurt that we have the best back in the country, though. Cornell Teamer does a great job weaving through traffic, and his excellent ball carrier vision leads him to the hole up the middle where he puts on the burners. The NFL scouts are going to love that play. He showed it all. His ability to run in between the tackles, his ability to make guys miss, and his ability to find and hit the hole. 3rd and 2. Landon Scruggs does not convert. Kerry Folk brings him down, and Kentucky's going to have to punt it. And what otherwise has been a great game from the redshirt senior Scruggs. 7 carries, 63 yards. 3rd and 2, a little over 5 minutes to go in the first half. Kansas up by a touchdown as Teamer gets it up the middle. Another first down for Cornell Teamer. I mean, this offense just feels like they are in a groove despite the slow start and the turnover. Here's Chosen, scrambling, looks to keep it himself, gets it past the 40. A nice run there for Kerry Chosen, who continues to evolve his game to have more scrambling. Here's Lord up the middle, another conversion. Blair Herr is injured, so of Kentucky's standout defensive ends, 2 of the 3 are now dinged up. Teamer to the right side, has room, juke move inside the 10 to around the 5, and now Teamer's really getting rolling. 11 carries for 91 yards. His usage is going to be way up in this game, and if we win in the national championship, because, I mean, we figure these are his last, at most, 2 games with the program, so we might as well get out what we can. He doesn't convert on 2nd and goal. Maybe not the worst thing in the world, because we're going to look to chew some clock here on 3rd and goal, and we're going to call a timeout. We had a tough time getting the snap off. Some miscommunication, it looked like, between Chosen and Elijah Parrish. So we're going to use the timeout rather than lose the 5 yards. 3rd and goal. Teamer says, "Get off me!" He's in for a score, and Kansas adds to the lead. 2nd touchdown of the first half for Cornell Teamer in the biggest game of his collegiate career. So far, he has looked the part, and it is 21-7. What a play there by Cornell Teamer. Launches the defender away. I mean, he went flying. And Kentucky will get it back. Minute 14 to go in the first half, down by 14 points. They've got to get something rolling quick. Peppers up the middle. There's a solid play, and it'll go for a first down in the hands of Nate Satele. the cousin of Kansas linebacker Soma Satele. We've got some family ties in this game. Wide open, it's Hicks down the field, eventually tracked down by Callaway and Todd. Gain of 47 yards for Melvin Hicks, who leaves Jalen Todd in the dust. 1st and 10, up the middle, into the end zone. Melvin Hicks with a touchdown. Kentucky needed a quick score to put themselves back into the game, and they got it. After 21 straight points by Kansas, Kentucky responds, and all of a sudden we've got ourselves a ball game. 21-14 late in the first half. Play action here for Chosen with under 30 seconds to go. He'll scramble, gets the first down, and is out of bounds. Kansas with 2 timeouts as it's now a 2nd and 2 at around the 37. Chosen looks to throw it, looking downfield. He's got Amani Law, outruns the corner, and you are not beating him in a foot race. 63 to the crib. Amani Law adds to the lead for Kansas. I mean, this guy is unbelievable. He had over 100 yards in the first half against Michigan State, and he's got over 100 yards today. 4 catches, a $104, and a 63-yard score. He leaves Teron Jean-Pierre in the dust. And if you remember, Jean-Pierre was a starter for us last year. As a redshirt freshman, he started opposite of Quantavious Landers, entered the transfer portal, goes to Kentucky, where he's obviously carved out a pretty nice role, but he just got burnt by his former teammate Amani Law, a player who he was recruited with back in year 2. 28-14 at the break. The Kansas offense has all of a sudden caught fire. 11 of 18, 158, a touchdown and an interception for Kerry Chosen, who's been good but not great. 13 carries, 92 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Cornell teamer Ty Lord with a score as well, while Amani Law obviously leads the way through the air. I think Cliff Peppers has been pretty solid for Kentucky. 10 of 13, 139, a touchdown and a pick. Landon Scruggs has been really good, 7 for 63 and a score. And then it's Melvin Hicks leading the way, 4 catches, 81 yards, and a touchdown. We've not been able to keep up with his speed, and speed was one of the reasons why we were okay with Jean-Pierre leaving in the portal for Kentucky to begin with. Oh my goodness, what a move by Ty Lord to start the second half. If he was able to break that away into an even bigger run, that would have been crazy. Still a good run there for Lord, who wasn't very effective against Michigan State, but has played well today against Kentucky. And remember, Lord, he didn't play at all last year in the playoff due to an injury. 3rd and 6, it's a screen. Rajon Jones gets the first down past the 50. The Kansas offense picking up where they left off, as it's now 3rd down and 3 for the Jayhawks. Chosen and teamer in the backfield. It's an RPO, and it's picked off! O'Dwyer, his 2nd of the game, his 8th of the year, and Kentucky forces a huge turnover. They needed that one really bad. A great snag by O'Dwyer, who's been one of, if not the best corners in the country. That is carried over today. I don't know why they don't have him on Amani Law, and instead it's Jean-Pierre, who's a good player. Obviously, we really like him. We started him as a freshman. But he's also very clearly not on the level of O'Dwyer, even though we think quite highly of him. Following a nice first down, Kentucky will move the chains again with a penalty on Roddy Orr. We can't be giving them 3 yards. With the turnover to start the 3rd quarter, they can easily scratch and claw their way back into the game if we keep making mistakes. On first down, Hicks in motion, play action for Scruggs. Peppers on the run is sacked. First sack of the game for either team. It's by an unlikely candidate, Josh Metz, the redshirt freshman, who brings him home for a loss of around 7. We didn't send much pressure against Michigan State. We're not sending much pressure today, as Peppers looks to throw it, nearly intercepted, in and out of the hands of Leon Ibrahim, who should have come down with that one. 3rd and 17 now for Kentucky. They're just going to run the ball. Landon Scruggs, solid gain, but will not go for a first down. And that will bring out the field goal unit. This is Kellen Lyles on to kick for Kentucky, the redshirt senior. It is a 38-yarder from the left hash to look to bring the lead to 11. His kick is good. And that'll make it 28-17. So the Wildcats cut into the deficit a little bit, but they've still got a lot of work to do, trailing by multiple possessions. We'll see what Kansas can do coming off of the interception. we've either scored a touchdown or thrown a pick on every drive today. So the highs have been high and the lows have been low. On first down, it's a screen for Amani Law, and the play is blown up. TJP, Teron Jean-Pierre, the redshirt sophomore, native of Berea, Kentucky. This is his hometown school. On third down, Chosen scrambles, gets the first down, is able to get some extra yardage as well. 3rd and inches now. Kansas moving it pretty well on this possession. Nearing the end of the quarter with under 30 seconds. Quick throw, hauled in. Rasheem Diggs, the tight end, gets it to around the 20. And that'll wrap up the third. Put your 4s in the chat, fellas. Kansas 1 quarter away from making it back to the national title. We've got some work to do, but we're in a good spot. Up by 11 with the ball in the red zone. Another touchdown would really put us in a good spot. And after we didn't score at all in the 3rd quarter, we could use some points early in the 4th. On 2nd down, Chosen looks to throw it. Scrambles to the right, and he's picked off again! O'Dwyer, a hat trick, his 3rd interception of the game, and his 9th of the season, which ties him for the most in the country this year with Javier Callaway. Kentucky gets it back yet again. What a game it has been for Randy O'Dwyer. I mean, this guy knows how to bait the quarterback and find the football. Chosen only had 4 interceptions all year coming into the game. Now he's added 3 more. His first multi-interception game of his career, and, well, he has 3. Scruggs gets it near the 50. Kentucky can make it a 1-score game. They can bring the lead possibly within 4 on this possession. 3rd and 3, it's picked off! Quantavius Landers gets one for Kansas, and the Jayhawks get it right back. Landers picks it off, the junior. Him and Teron Jean-Pierre, of course, were supposed to be the starting corner duo of the future. That didn't really pan out. Jean-Pierre leaves for Kentucky. Landers might not stick around after this year. There's a chance he technically could enter the NFL. I think he certainly has an interesting decision to make because he is a little bit raw, but he's got the measurables, he's got the ball skills, and he's gotten better each and every season. Here's Lord up the middle, the first down run. Now it's really a focus on chewing some clock. Let Cornell Teamer and Ty Lord really take control, but sprinkle some throws in there as well. Elijah Parrish past the 40, Chosen now 20 of 30. He's been fairly efficient outside of, well, you know, the 3 picks. As Teamer has it to the right, Teamer with a first down, tries to juke away from the All-American safety Cam Dooley. He's not quite able to, but he does get the first down nearing the red zone. We're letting this clock burn. Here's Lord with room. Lord to the outside. He is out of bounds. There's an injury anyway, so the clock stops. Not before getting another first down, though. 3rd and 7. Chosen throws out of the sack, and that'll lead to the field goal unit finding the field. 25-yarder for Anthony Escalante. Made both of his kicks a week ago against Michigan State. This one is up, and it is through. So with under 3 minutes to go, it is 31-17, a 14-point deficit. Kentucky's going to need a lot to go their way. We will see if they can do it. 2nd and 10 at the 25 for the Wildcats. Peppers goes short. It's caught by Hicks. Manupuna cannot bring him down, at least at first. He's finally wrapped up near the 50. The name of the game right now for Kentucky is speed. They've got to march down the field as fast as they can. On first down, Peppers surveys the field, tucks it and runs, and he will not get the first down, but he is out of bounds. Breaking the tackle for Manupuna, who's usually a very sure-handed tackler, but he's missed a couple on back-to-back plays. 2nd and 2, short pass, first down. Maurice Penny, I don't know why he didn't go out of bounds. He'll be quickly wrapped up by the redshirt freshman Cornell Abreu. Kentucky hurries back to the line, nearing the 2-minute timeout. Peppers on first down. He will look short. Dalton Mooney, his first catch of the game, tries to spin away, wrapped up by Abreu and Nwokeji at the 5, as that brings us to the 2-minute timeout. Kentucky still with all 3 timeouts in their arsenal. Peppers, he will get by the big fella, Keaho, and Cliff Peppers is in for a touchdown. Kentucky needed a quick touchdown drive, and they got it. Their first touchdown of the second half, actually the first touchdown for either team in the second half. They're only going to go for the 1. However, I would go for 2. Try to make it a 6-point game. The analytics say you should go for 2. And now another big decision. Kentucky will not go for the onside kick. We were fully prepared for it. This really surprises me, though, but they clearly trust their run defense, which is odd considering, well, their run defense has been pretty stinky today. Cornell Teamer breaks a tackle, gets by O'Dwyer, and gains around 5. Blair Herr hurt on the play again. Kentucky would have called the timeout anyway. 2nd and 5. Chosen hands it off for the sophomore, Nicholas Scotland Williamson, who gets a few. And so that'll make it a 3rd down and around 3. A 1st down ends the game and sends Kansas to the national championship. It's Teamer, looks to finish it, but he does not! Byron Leon saves the game for Kentucky. They're going to have to use another timeout off of an injury. So the Wildcats trust their defense, and it pays off. Ofisa Sammy will punt it for the first time today, and Kentucky will get a chance to tie the game with a solid return on the punt by Nate Satele. Another injury, goddamn. Teron Jean-Pierre used to always get injured for us. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten hurt for Kentucky. Peppers on 1st down, throws it away. With not having any timeouts to work with, Kentucky's going to have to be smart with how they manage this clock. Peppers under pressure, scrambles, has plenty of room. Why is he not running? Why did he throw it away? I get you want to stop the clock, but he could have easily ran for at least 15 or 20 yards and gone out of bounds. 3rd and 10. Peppers on the run and is caught, but not in bounds. Or at least that's what they say. I kind of thought Hicks was in. The booth is going to take another look at it. I think Melvin Hicks was in bounds. I think that was a bad play defensively by Jalen Todd, who has not had a very good game. And there you go. The booth does review it and reverse it. A 1st down for Kentucky. Peppers with just over a minute 20. He's sacked. Mo Nwokeji off the blitz. We've been trying to send blitzes. They haven't worked until now. Chose a pretty good time, though, to get the sack. 2nd and 17. Peppers fakes away from Devin Murphy on the run. Throws it away with Santiago Herrera starting to send pressure. And that'll make it a 3rd down and 17 for the Wildcats. Pepper calls an audible, alone in the backfield. Under pressure, short throw is caught! Hicks somehow hangs on despite a huge hit by Jalen Todd, and Kentucky's going to hurry back to the line here on 4th and 9. Game and season on the line for the Wildcats. A spot in the national championship awaiting the winner. Peppers broken up, incomplete! Brandon Hines with the deflection, and this game is over. The Kansas Jayhawks will hold on. They defeat Kentucky and are headed to the national championship. 31-24, your final. Really fun game. But Kansas defeats Kentucky, and we will get the rematch from Season 1 between Kansas and Michigan. Don't go anywhere. We're about to start that game in a few minutes. Cornell Teamer played really well, 22 for $131 and a pair of tutties. We're giving Teamer the ball more than ever. Again, since these are his last games here, we know he's going to declare for the draft. We want to get all that we can out of our best player as the team rallies around the Peach Bowl trophy. There's Teamer, there's Chosen, and a lot of the offensive linemen. Rasheem Diggs as well. So Kansas is going to the national championship, the number 1 seed versus the number 2 seed for the title. The total opposite of the first time we played Michigan when we were the 9 seed and they were the 11. Both of us barely scraped in, and they were the last team to get in. 3 interceptions for Chosen. Did not have his best game. Made some good throws, but could not keep it away from Randy O'Dwyer. That guy is unbelievable. That is as good of a defensive player as we've played against in this entire series. 22 for 131 for Teamer. Ty Lord was great as well. 9 carries, 71 yards. 7 catches for Parrish, 6 for 108, and a score for Amani Law. The offensive line was terrific. As good of a game as I've seen. Kerry Chosen was barely under any pressure. He was not sacked once. And then the run blocking was fantastic. Reggie Chanel, Luis Roche leading the way. Those guys are both NFL players. And then defensively, look at Kerry Chosen with the tackle. I thought the defense played fairly well. They still need to get more pressure. But I thought the pass defense was pretty solid. Obviously, the 2 interceptions. And then Kentucky didn't try to run the ball in the second half. They only ran it twice with Scruggs, which is weird because he was playing really well early in this game. Cliff Peppers did it the 2 interceptions. I thought overall he did play pretty well, though. And then Scruggs was really good. 9 carries, 86 yards. I don't know why they went away from him completely. That was a mistake. 8 for 140 and a score for Hicks. Paul Crisp, their best receiver, did not catch anything after the first quarter. He was quiet down the stretch. They didn't send any pressure, but they did get 3 interceptions with Randy O'Dwyer. That guy is really, really good. He's sticky in coverage, but has otherworldly ball skills. So there you go. The Peach Bowl will belong to the Kansas Jayhawks. We're going to the national championship, and we will get our chance at revenge against the University of Michigan. You couldn't have written the storybook any better. As soon as I saw the playoff bracket, I figured if we get here, we'll probably get either Michigan or TCU. And regardless of who we would play between those two, it would be the perfect ending. But I think Michigan, even more so, is especially fitting. Given our history with them, this will be the 4th time we play against them in this series. Monu Okeji, the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week, had the big sack late. Offensive Player of the Week is obviously Cornell Teamer. Neither of them win the National Player of the Week, though. I'm surprised it was not Cornell Teamer. I feel like it should have been him. Nonetheless, headed to the national championship, number 2 versus number 1, the 2 best teams in the country. We will get a very deserving national champion. Melvin Hicks and Jameer Benjamin, the National Players of the Week. I think both of those are wrong. How was it not O'Dwyer defensively, and then it should have been Cornell Teamer on offense? O'Dwyer in particular, I think, is the even worse miss. I mean, Jameer Benjamin hit the pick 6, but still, that's one play. All right, let's take a look at this Michigan team looking to complete the undefeated season. 15-0. These guys have been as rock solid as it gets. They're coming off a 35-10 win against Western Kentucky. And again, look at the offensive linemen. They're best, second best. Oh, who's a freshman? Third best, fourth best, fifth best, seventh best. And then it even goes down. They have third stringers in the high 80s. Cam Stroud is a third stringer. He's an 89. Let's take a look at C.J. Carr, who's gone through quite the journey in his career. Of course, Isaiah Marshall is here, another former Kansas Jayhawk who never caught on as a starter, losing to C.J. Carr here at Michigan. Carr started his career at Notre Dame. He was supposed to be the future starter after Riley Leonard, but he was not. He lost out in Season 2 to Steve Angeli. He was supposed to win in Season 3, but he lost out to a young freshman by the name of Jay Pitts. Ended up being a pretty good decision for Notre Dame. Carr transfers to Michigan, where he wasn't that good last year. He threw 20 interceptions, but has improved a lot this year, leading the Wolverines to the title, where he's already won a championship as a backup at Notre Dame behind Jay Pitts. Kane Kunashik, 92 overall redshirt junior. Got to imagine he will declare for the NFL draft, probably as the RB2, behind Cornell Teamer. 1,500 yards and 19 touchdowns, over 100 yards per game. All 3 of those second in the country, only trailing Cornell Teamer, who has 22. I really feel like our team is made for the moment going into this game. I mean, for one thing, we've passed the eye test the entire year, only 1 loss, 14-1. We beat Michigan State. We beat Kentucky, who both of those teams are obviously very, very good. And I feel like everything we've worked towards since the first episode has led us to where we are in this game. Kerry Chosen, in his first year as a starter, looks to cap it off with a national championship and hopefully give Clyde Poole a ring as well. Cornell Teamer, I think with a big performance today in a national championship, probably cements himself as the greatest player, not just in this series, but in the history of Kansas football. I mean, he's going to pass Devin Neal and Jalen Daniels, I would say, pretty easily if he leads this team to a win. This will be the last game in the Kansas career of Cornell Teamer, along with many of the other upperclassmen who are either graduating or leaving early for the NFL draft. And as I said earlier, it feels like a storybook ending that we're playing against Michigan. It feels so fitting. If we travel back in time, going all the way back to Season 1, when both teams, but us in particular, made our Cinderella run to the national championship, we played against Michigan for the first time, and what ended up being a close defensive battle, we lost 20-13. This game really stung because it felt like, who knows, we might never get a chance to come back here with guys like Jalen Daniels, Devin Neal, Kobe Bryant, and Marvin Grant all graduating and leaving for the NFL. Jalen Todd was the only player on that team who is still on this team, so many of the guys we currently have can't really relate to this loss. They can relate, however, 2 years later, in Season 3, in the first round of the playoff, our first playoff game since the national championship lost, where Michigan beat us again. Pretty much everybody within this core was on that team. Whether they had a big role, guys like Cornell Teamer and Amani Law were already starters, or in the case of Kerry Chosen, who was being redshirted, all of those guys were there in Ann Arbor for that loss. They know what it's like to lose to this team, and they don't want it to happen again. Kerry Chosen leads the Jayhawks out onto the field for the national championship here in AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Texas. Now, I'll be honest, this game ended up being wild. It was crazy. Really, really exciting game. So much so that I think we're going to have to wait. I hope you guys like double uploads, because this Sunday, the national championship will be premiering between Kansas and Michigan, followed by the long-term sim in the Broncos franchise. I hate to edge you guys like this, but I felt like the national championship deserved its own episode because the game ended up being crazy. I hope you guys like double uploads because you'll be getting a lot in the next week with College Football 26. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.